All right, I got lucky. Now is the next day, morning. So good morning. When I did the part one, it was in the evening. I was doing that like around 10 p.m. or 9 p.m., something like that. And I was just infested by the flies. There were so many flies. I got distracted quite a bit. Today, flights are gone. So lucky. So I thought it was a better opportunity for me to make the part two of this little live course, streaming live course, let's say. I will share my screen and let's start. So present, I will present, present the screen. Bit per bit, just bear with me for 1 second because I want to share everything, entire screen. That's the goal, nothing hidden. Okay, you should see it now. So I will go to Visual Studio Code and normally, yeah, you do see it. Perfect. So let's start. We were here. I don't know if you remember part one. If you don't remember, or in case you haven't watched the part one and you would like to know from where I started for having this little boilerplate, let's say boilerplate for building an app, just watch the part one of the video. Here it's create an app with vite part two. So look at exactly the same title, but part one. So let's add some states. We can, have like name, set name. So that one is the getter, that one is a setter. By convention, we prefix the setter by a set. It doesn't have to. We just destructure the array here from your state. But usually, I highly recommend you to always use the getter without get, just a name, the noun, and then the setter, you set plus the name of the getter. Camel case, however, so it's not like set name like this, but set name camel case. Let's zoom a little bit so you might see a bit better. We'll close that for now. And yeah, so we have this. So let's say here we want to have a use effect. Perfect. And then we don't want to refresh the use effect. We will have a empty array, so it will not rerun on every render or subsequent renders. It will just be rendered once for use effect. It will only be executed, like run only once. And here we do, but for instance, if we do change the name, we can use name, so it will depend on the name property. That's something else. So there we can do set name. My name, it will be Pierre. So set name Pierre. We start by that, and after we'll have something a little bit different. And then here, we can just remove the counter. So if I go to my terminal, I'll just create a new terminal. Let me close that one. Let me create a new one. Perfect. Let me close that. Oops, sorry. Awesome. And here I go to projects. And then there I will go to our vite project. And here I will just do npm run dev. And npm run dev, what it will do, it's quite simple actually. If you look at the package.json, it has here dev. It will just execute vite and vite development. So if I copy that and if I go to Firefox, if I go here, you see what I see. So that's already a good start. That's the default counter of the default web page vite is showing for us. But in our case, we want to do something a little bit different. So for us, if I just change here, we just want to display a name for now. Hello, we just go in the p tag. So hello, then the name. And now it will be hello Pierre. You see, hello Pierre. As simple as that. I can actually do that, and I can replace that if I just go, yeah, we just replace. Okay, let's select this and let's paste that. Perfect. And now it will be hello Pierre. Now what if I want to do a button on click? Yes, on click, but not set count, and we can actually remove that. It will be the on click will show a prompt like a JavaScript, and that prompt will, what's your name? We need to have a function here. So get, get user name. Perfect. And inside here, I will have a const get username, and there I will do const name, the name, but it will be user name equals and then a prompt. That's a prompt we were having, I was adding before. So a prompt, it will be like, please enter your name. And then once you have the name, if we receive the name from the user, if username is set, then we use our setter here from useState, set name, and we just set the name. So as you can see, set name is not a variable, it's a function actually of the setter. And so that's why we don't do it like this with the equals operator. We don't do that. We don't use the equals sign here. We just use parentheses like that. Beautiful, lovely. So now I have a little error. Let's see why. What's the error? Import Melanie. I have an import 47. Oh, I think I have one extra curly bracket. Oh yeah, here. One missing actually. Okay, so get name, and now get name. We will just do just return get name. The get name, if you set a user, we'll have this. And if not, we'll just say, please, or we can set set name, set name equals, what can we say if the user doesn't enter a name? We can just have an alert, please enter your name. Let's see. I have another issue. Oh yeah, again, closing curly brackets, perfect. I set my name, Pierre Henry. Hello, Pierre Henry. And if I didn't know, please enter your name. You see, if I go cancel, please, you might have to enter a name. Or maybe we can say no name has been set. Default name will be, and here we can use our literal template in JS. So it's with a tick, the backticks, template literals, template strings, and we use backticks. And that way it's very good because it does interpol. It does the interpolation with the variables. So that means we can use our variables like this. So here it will be like, if I set a default name here, default app name, default username, equals Pierre. Perfect, so that will be my default name. And here it will be, actually this is redundant, it's a string. TypeScript will automatically see, oh yeah, that constant is a string, that's fine, because you automatically assign it to a string, but otherwise you can also specifically mention if it's a string or not, if we want a string. If we didn't assign it by default, but just declaring a property in a class, then like imagine it's a class, then you don't need, like, you need to mention the type, and then later on you will assign, like if it's from the constructor or something like that, you need to specifically specify the type. But here it's because we are assigning it's a string by default, so this becomes redundant. TypeScript is quite flexible. You don't have to mention the type. Like it depends of the context actually. So here we have, so the default name, sorry, my bad, that will be here, and then set name equals, set name, set default username. So now Pierre, like this. Oh, that will be, if I mention my default name, oh yeah, so Henry, yes. And if I don't, you see your name has been set, so we can set your name hasn't been set because we use a backticks. We can use, that's also one of the benefits of using the backticks, we can use a single quote. If I did use a single quote here, I would have had to use the double quote, because otherwise JavaScript will not understand, oh, it's finishing here for the string, and where does it stop, you see? So that's also one of the benefits of using a backtick. You have the interpolation of variables, but also you do have, you can use single quotes, and double quotes, because backticks are different than single and double quotes. So this way, if we try again, we don't have to refresh the browser, actually the page automatically does for it. We don't have, does it for us, so we don't have to refresh the page. So if you do changes, don't worry, like I change something here, it will automatically do the changes for us. It does it for us very simply. So here, your name hasn't been set, default name will be Pierre, and then I do OK, and then hello Pierre. You see, as simple as that. So now that we can set a name for us, we can use local storage if we wish to, because, why not? So we can persistent the data the user enters in our website, in our app. So every user who mentions something like a name or something else, we can mention it, we can store all of those details either in a local storage or in a local session. Local storage, as soon as you close your browser, the data is gone. Local session, it's different actually, it's the other way around. So the session storage, it will be only the session. So as soon as you close your browser, the data will be gone. Local storage, now, I think there's no expiry date unless you remove it. But local storage, you can set a specific time, but by default, there's no expiration time for local storage. Local session is only for the session of the tab of the browser. So as soon as you close it, or if you are on incognito, private navigation, so here if I go to new private window, as soon as I close it, it will be all of the data will be gone. So in our case, we want to have the user data for the user to be stored in the browser for a longer time. This is why we will use local storage instead of session storage. Yeah, and actually here you have exactly what I said, basically. You see page session ends. So as soon it gets cleared, as soon as the page session ends. All right, so now we can continue and we can close that, and I can, let's go back to Visual Studio Code, and here, let's, I'm just thinking of the way we will implement it. If I set the name here, so this one we don't need actually anymore for now. We can do it here actually because we set the name, so it will depend on name. We can use another, oh no, actually we are not, yeah, we have get name. So let's use this use effect. And here, if we have a name, then we can use local storage set item and the name, so that will be the key. We can actually set a constant here, so key name key storage username, yeah, something like this. And the name will be key name, yeah, like this. And then to retrieve it, so here, that's good, we set the item, so it's much better, much prefer a local storage than a cookie. It's also safer, and you can actually have a look. Local storage, why safer than cookies? But it's like cookies, basically, it's similar. Why cookie? Yeah, that's funny, it says the opposite. But usually local storage is also newer than cookies. Cookies are extremely old. And if I, yeah, there are advantages and disadvantages. Cookies are both ways to store data. Size, cookies have a smaller size than local storage. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, expiration, a cookie will always have a expiration date, not a local storage. Security, of course, it depends what kind of data you are storing as well. Cookies are sent every request, which can be interpreted. That's the disadvantage of the security. Local storage is accessible from the client side, so it's more secure, and this is the reason why it's more secure. And again, yeah, the scope can be specifically set per domain, and so they are only accessible for one specific website, so another website will not be able to use a cookie from a different website, but local storage, normally it's the same, so on the same domain, so it has a wider scope. By any script on the same domain, or on the same domain, and then domain specific. I think it's because you can set only for like one subdomain, unlike local storage where it will be like Quora.com, but it will be also app.quora.com and another subdomain like this, .quora.com. So that you just have to be a little bit careful there. In general, local storage is a better option for storing larger amount of data that needs to persist. Yeah, here in our case is exactly what we need. We need our data to be persisted for a long time, so local storage, while cookies are more suitable for storing a small amount of data, like small amounts of data that needs to be sent back and forth between the client and the server. Yeah. Anyways, so here we were doing that local storage. And now what we can do, we just need to retrieve. So local storage set item, that's good. We are doing that. But what else do we need? Well, we need, so here, get username. I was distracted. So, okay, so we have the, you see, when you don't work in the flow, in the deep work, sometimes it's a bit harder to be again in that flow. Especially today, for some reason, maybe it was still the flies during the night, but I have a little headache, to be honest. Maybe you can hear it, but yeah, I do have a headache. So key storage username, and we set the item with a key name, and that's the value. So now the way we want to retrieve that one, yeah, automatically we want the name here to be set. So you see that name. And for doing so, if no name has been set, yeah, let's do it here. But we can also do it in a use effect. But for now, we can do local storage, and automatically it will get the item. And if not, we can also actually use the default username. If this one, get item from the local storage, returns undefined, null, we can go to the default username. Because if normally, if you look, get item, if the key is not found, also contains the name of the key you want to persist, return value. So the return value, a string containing the value of the key. If the key does not exist, null is returned. You see, null is returned. So in our case, this will return null, no exception, and then we set the default username instead. Perfect. So I think now we are all set. Let's try that. Awesome. So now, hello Pierre, I set a name, Pierre. Hello Perry. You see, it's persisted. And now if I don't have anything, I will go to a new private session, hello Pierre, because that's the default username it uses. From there, you see. So now if I set a name to Henry and I refresh, it will always be Henry because it's in my local storage. So we can even have a look if we go to inspect the page, and here memory storage, it's here actually. That's cookies, that's not for us. In our case, it's local storage. You see, you have session storage and local storage. That's the domain name. And here I have key name, and you can see Henry, it's set there. And now if I change, I can manually change to another name. Of course, that's like for development, but you can change explicitly. There's no, for a user, there's no purpose to do that, basically. But you can, and see here, it's the one I manually set from my toolbar, my development toolbar, storage, local storage, another name. So that has been set, and I can also set other things, like in my case, we have here like set a name, but I can also have other things, like here can be set a set a, wonder what I can do, set a date of birth, why not? And here to be, yeah, get username from browser. Actually, that's better. From browser. And here to be get date of birth, maybe retrieve from browser. And that one as well, retrieve, perfect. And here, awesome. I will soon have to leave you because I will soon start working. It will soon be the time for me to start my job, basically, in 30 minutes. So I want to be prepared. Here, it's just like before starting working, you know, I like to have a kind of a warm-up and doing some live streaming. But now I love my job and I don't want to be late for my job, basically. So I think we will do another session tonight, a part 3 tonight when I go home. That will be fun. Here it will be retrieve, yeah, date of birth from the browser, and there again we can just accept those changes from Copilot because here it's correct. Date of birth, please enter your date of birth, but we have to validate it. We need to validate that. And here set date of birth. So there we need here to be, it will also depend on date of birth. Here to be const date of birth, set date of birth, perfect. And the default one will be again from our local storage, and the key date of birth. You see it will use Copilot is like detecting my pattern of using key as a prefix, and so it does the same for the date of birth, which is correct. I like it. So now here I need to validate that. So date of birth, set date of birth. No, we don't want to set a default one for date of birth. No default date will be set. And here, like we can even say, like we understand your decision, your privacy, your decision, no default date will be set if they don't want to. If we receive something, so date of birth, it will conflict here. Oh, that one I need to paste that one here for the key. And so it's cleaner. We don't hard code the local storage key. You see, that's a key. And then when we set here, so we'll have to do like if date of birth, then we set the item with our key, same as the other one for the name, like this. And then here we need a different name, like input date of birth. And here too, we actually use the same convention, input username, like this. Perfect. And here I need to validate. So validate date of birth to be month, day, and year. And then it will just validate date of birth. No, normally if here we can use that with checks. That's correct. I was thinking of using the date class. There is another way to do that. But if we want to be strict and we want only this kind of date, yeah, that's fine. We can use the regex. So here to expect 2 digits and then 2 digits. And then we'll test it and new date, and we can also check with the date to make sure it's a valid date. Let's see if that works. So we can store that in a constant. Is date valid? Perfect. And now we can do if the date is valid. If not, here we can set an alert. Again, the date of birth you entered is not valid. And we can again retrieve, we can call again the same function. We just do recursively, we call the same function asking again for the date of birth. And if not, if we have nothing set here, we just said that, okay, we understand there's no date of birth set. But this, I will show it to you, function, same function called inside of function, recursive, we call it a recursive function. So calling a function inside of itself is called recursion. Recursion, it's a technique used for many applications, even like, in printing out a Fibonacci series, like that's the kind of numbers we use also for Scrum, for Kanban, for the capacity of tasks you can have in a sprint in Scrum. So that's like a agile technique methodology. We use story point, and usually the story point is a Fibonacci number. Fibonacci or I think it's Fibonacci number. Let's check it out. Fibonacci. Yeah. Anyways, and yeah, so it's recursive, but here it's different. It's so in the case of the Fibonacci number, if we want a function, it will call again the same exponent. And yeah, anyways, now in our case, I think we are good to go. I have to leave soon, so that's I'm looking at the time. If name, yeah, what's the issue here? Line 12. Oh, yeah. From here, you state, oh, my bad. Yeah, should be like that. I missed a parenthesis here because it's the you state, we need to close it. You see with the parentheses, I mean the two parentheses. Perfect. So now, oh, and I want to set my date of birth. So the button here, why it's not showing up? Oh, it's because I don't have a name. Set a date of birth. Perfect. So now you see, set a date of birth. If I do something invalid, oh, that shouldn't be accepted. There is an issue, probably. I think it's, let's remove that for now. Bit per bit y and data comparison. Oh, the type. It's because, yeah, if we have it's not null, and that's the issue, because new date, what does it expect to have in the constructor? Let's have a look. Digit in the constructor. If we look here, new date, the value December. Oh yeah, but it has to be a valid date, which is not the case for us. Yeah, let's not use the date class for now. That will be better this way. And also, what I forgot, this one we can just remove that div, and here we can say H2 for heading 2. So it's the second heading, your date of birth is, and date of birth. Only if we have, only if we do have this. So how we do it? Date of birth. I will just do that way. Date of birth and H2. So the H2 I will just remove. Perfect. Yeah, and the curly brackets there. Yeah, that's correct. Awesome. So let's try now. Yeah, that works. There was an issue, actually, a compilation issue when we are using new date. It was giving a, normally if you check here, there's an issue with a new date. You see, oh, here that's a different issue actually. I have, what if I do this? My code, my previous code, will be another issue normally. Yeah, there was another issue because obviously here it does the type. What I give in the constructor is not valid, and yeah, that would just cause issues. Like now, if I look at this one, because oh yeah, no, that one works actually. Anyways, let's keep that one for now. Only this, and now I will try my date. So like I will just do this one. I set my date of birth. It didn't say if I sorry. It doesn't. So for some reason, set date of birth. So it will set the date of birth here. I will zoom out a little bit. And set item. Set name. Date of birth. There is an issue, a reason why this wouldn't work. Oh, sorry, I forgot the closing tag here. Yeah, awesome. So let's try. Oh yeah, no, date of birth is null. We can see that later, otherwise, because yeah, that will be a fun issue to debug with you, because it should set, I have the feeling that, oh yeah, if it's valid, if it's not valid, it will show the error again. Oh, here, oh yes. I didn't set to the set of, wait, oh no, I did. Date of birth. Oh, but I mentioned the value here, it's incorrect. You see, I mentioned date of birth. It has to be from the input there. And in my case, it was date of birth, but date of birth will be empty because that will be from my use state, from my state. And that at that time, this one is still null. So yeah, easy mistake, easy typo. So it's actually like this instead. So we can just remove that. So now, looking at the time, nearly time for me to start my amazing day. I'm working in a really nice medtech company. I love it, to be honest. And at the moment, I have a really cool project I need to finish. So I've just finished now this live streaming. At the same time, it helps me, hopefully to be, I like to teach as well. And I do some, how we call that? Be and drink. Learn and be and learn. So beer and learn at my company. It's really cool too at company. So on Fridays, and it's like a meetup, but inside of the company with employees who would like to learn something. It's normally always with the engineers, usually only with the engineers. And so it's like beer and learn. Yeah, we have a Slack channel about beer and learn. So usually we have a cider, a beer, or any other kind of drinks, and we learn something. So someone is explaining something. It's really cool. So 1994, perfect. And that's in the local storage. Let's have a look here. Yeah, it's set. So thank you very much for this little live. Thank you for being here, and we'll see in another session. Ciao. Actually tonight for part 3. So see you tonight.